We are broadcasting at 1080 on your AM dial. Aloha, welcome back to the program. We had been talking about different terms and about education. Our telephone number here is 524-1080 in the event you would like to call and share an opinion. We go to our next caller. Today is Sunday, the 29th day of April. Aloha caller, thank you for calling. Welcome to the program.
Aloha, Polka. How are you this morning?
Yes, fine.
Good. Interesting show as always.
Thank you.
Looking at the whole GMO issue and then education.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple comments. It would be hard not to argue that the public education system in the United States and in Hawaii is in a state of crisis. The No Child Left Behind initiative under George Bush has resulted in higher rates of dropouts and pushouts, especially among students of colors. It has not resulted in any significant increase in test scores. And there is numerous reports about morale among parents, teachers, and students in terms of their confidence in the education system to address the needs of, and one can just simply go to public education reports in an internet search and kind of access that. But I want to particularly talk about the crisis of education in Hawaii. There is a large, I think it's $75 million grant that is really in question because of the failure of the public school system in Hawaii to meet standards. Mm-hmm. And I would like to draw from some of your writings to help frame an understanding of public education in a unique geographic area like Hawaii, which is an occupied territory. Mm-hmm. And what probably could best describe the hidden curriculum of public school in Hawaii, and I would say this could be generalized to the mainland, is your acronym of DIE, which public education in Hawaii is best characterized by a dominant knowledge base. They call it epistemology. It's a dominant knowledge base. It's culturally biased, as you referred to. It's designed to have people understand what they have to do to conform, to fit into jobs in the future. It is not designed to promote critical thinking. It is individualistically based in terms of how grades are assigned, how assignments are presented, how learning occurs. And it really is highly characterized by the E in your acronym of DIE, where there is minimal attention given to cultural different worldviews. We may have a potluck dinner where people bring food and have music from different cultures. We have Black History Month. But if you look at the content and the process, in other words, the type of information and the way learning occurs, it's grounded in a white Western philosophy of education. Now, I can speak pretty authoritatively with this because I'm a professional educator and I am white Western from my cultural background. I think there is enough discussion in the United States talking about the death of education, and the death of education being that it is such a failure among students. For instance, the University of Hawaii has less than 50% of entering freshmen ever graduate from the university.
Wow.
So there's a major problem there. I want to end my comments by making two suggestions. One is there is a deafening silence in the College of Education at the University of Hawaii. The College of Education at the University of Hawaii should be the centerpiece for discourse to deal with transformation of our education. It would be imperative, although late in coming, for the College of Education to demonstrate respect for cultural inclusivity, to join in partnership with the Hawaiian Studies Center to have a 5-year summer conference that would last 5 days during the next 5 summers to talk about the vision and the implementation of transformative and liberation education. The second suggestion I have is that I would like to invite your listeners to consider the utility of joining with what's called De-Occupy Honolulu. It's part of the National Occupation Movement. It's called, you can go to deoccupyhonolulu.org. On May 1st of this coming week, De-Occupy Honolulu will be having a protest dealing with numerous issues, including education, down at the legislature. So I for one, am a cultural critic to try to understand what is going wrong and then talk about what's going right, what we can do right. So I hope you and your listeners will consider how your domination, individualism, exclusivity model really is a way of analyzing the crisis in education. Secondly, I hope your listeners will consider calling the president of the University of Hawaii, asking for her support in having a conference this summer with the College of Education and the Hawaii Studies Center so we can begin the important work of transforming our schools. I hope your listeners will consider looking at the information on the Internet on deoccupyhonolulu.org. And I apologize for the long commentary, but I'll listen to your comments off the air.
Well, before you go, Michael, University of Hawaii president, how does one find a way of contacting such a person?
You know, Polka, this is one of the distressing things. If you call the number for the central board telephone system, 4 years ago it went complete technology, and you have to know the person's extension. I frankly don't know her extension. You can go to University of Hawaii at Manoa on the Internet, and you can look for Dr. Greenwood, who is the president, and get her email address or her direct telephone line. I apologize for not having that information, but it's one of those problems of lack of public accessibility to leaders in institutions. Last comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Last comment. The president of the University of Hawaii makes $385,000, $120,000 more than the president of the United States. We just hired a football coach at $800,000 a year. The University of Hawaii has a long reputation of overpaid administrators whose primary job is to maintain a certain type of status quo in Hawaii. And that status quo begins with guaranteeing the increasing militarization and the occupation of Hawaii by not allowing and initiating broad-based discussion on the political injustice that underlie the educational process at the University of Hawaii. This is truly not a University of Hawaii. It should be renamed the Colony of Hawaii within Hawaii.
You're right on point. What else can I say?
Well, thank you, but I hope we can join together. We really, regardless of one's views of the lack of organization with the occupation movement, I believe that we need to have the native people of Hawaii lead the injustices of the occupation. I also believe that it would do well to have that movement involve Caucasians who have a sense of moral principle and justice. And so looking at the occupation initiative this Wednesday, I believe it's important for us to, one, as settlers, respect the leadership that comes from the Hawaiian community. And secondly, I also believe it's important that we develop a quilt, a patchwork of progressive people that all can play a role in transforming our political and education systems here. And thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much for calling and for sharing all these many ideas. Call back and keep sharing them.
Have a nice day. Thank you for all you're doing.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Aloha. And if you would like to call, our telephone number here is 524-1080. This is Po Kalainui, and you are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri. So we started out with the subject of GMO, with the subject of education, and we have had two callers, very instructive on both subjects. What more can I say? Why don't you think about these things that the callers have said, and we'll allow some time just to pass by with some music in the background. I think maybe some instrumentals at this time would be proper, so that we can sit back and contemplate the different views just expressed. Okay, so let's go to Brother John Keave and see if he has something for us. Brother John? Okay, that sounds nice. Yellow Gingerly. Okay, let's see if I can get it up. This is Po Kalainui, and you are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri. The time now is 52 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and in this last hour we have been talking about a number of issues, most recently on the subject of education, and I am informed by the last caller that there's a proposal, or at least a suggestion that he's making, that in the next 5 years we should have, over the next 5 years, 5 days of conferencing every year to take a review of where education is, take a look at the education as a colonial tool, take a look at how to liberate education, what changes needs to be made in education, and a conference held between the UH School of, or the Department of Education and the Department of Hawaiian Studies, and trying to put those two together. During the music, I was contemplating this idea. I think it's a great idea to really look at education as a system itself. I would suggest, however, that we try to incorporate one, Kamehameha schools, and get them in the discussion, at least in the involvement of asking themselves a question of how to open up and start liberating the education that is being taught, not only at the schools, but their contribution into our local communities, especially our Native Hawaiian communities, which at least over the last few years, I've been impressed with the school's attempt to effectuate changes in the educational systems, especially in the Waianae, Waimanalo area. I would also suggest, and I had this meeting yesterday with some people who were also inside of the education system, Native Hawaiians who were themselves somewhat dissatisfied, wanting to ask these questions, and in our discussion had even suggested that would I be willing to meet with the head of the education, the public education system, for this kind of general discussion. And I think that is where that discussion should be also involved. We need to incorporate the public education system, the Department of Education, as well as the Board of Education, to bring them into this kind of review of exactly what is education to be, and what are the values there, and its colonial impact, and all of those things. So I want to thank our last caller for such a wonderful, a very specific suggestion. He also gave the announcement that on the 1st of May, and that's going to be on Tuesday, and I wasn't sure what time it was. I think it's going to be during the noon hour at the state capitol. There's going to be a gathering to deoccupy Honolulu, or is it deoccupyhonolulu.org is where further information may be, and engage in that continuing discussion of education and how to liberate education. I'm sure that there will be members of the state legislature who can also be engaged in these kinds of discussions. Our telephone number is 524-1080. We only have about 4 more minutes, but let's go to our next caller. Aloha caller, welcome to the program.
Well, he was very articulate, wasn't he? I thought
yes.
He really did it in a nutshell. Pretty much all what I wanted to say to it, but I just wanted to add that, well, this is kind of funny, but my daughter, she goes out, she's attending UH, and I remember when we were having the Apex protests and all that, and I was telling her about the deal. And well, she's into economics and all that, and I was telling her how, it's not like you're being taught, And she says, "Well, no, you guys are an embarrassment, We're trying to, we're trying to make money, It's really interesting. Anyway, I sent her a lot of material about the APEC and tried to convince her. Otherwise, I don't think I did much. But that's what I see. There's a lack of critical thinking skills that are not being taught even more so today than in our time. At least some of us had a chance to change or rethink our thinking, and that kind of stuff. But they're so indoctrinated, and they're so much in competition to try and get their education done and get the grade and everything else. Because because they're trying to get a livelihood and future and get off track. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just like you. As time goes on, you reflect and you say, "Wait a minute, this is not the way I see." As time goes on, because you do some study and you find out, oh wait, this is not America, and I mean this is America, and they came and overthrew us and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I just thought that it's very important because education is an indoctrination of people and in a belief system and basically it's colonial thinking way. Yeah. And a way that takes, they want to form them into.
I tell you what, let's continue with this discussion in the next hour, because I know there's a lot more opinions that you have, and if you can call back next hour and we can continue with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, and I think it's very important what the last caller had talked about. How we have, I guess, substituted critical thinking for, the grade for a diploma. And there's an assumption that you are educated when you have alphabets after your name, you have a diploma. But what happened to critical thinking? We'll discuss more of that when we come back after the news. This is Pokar Laino. You are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri on radio station KWAI 1080 on your AM dial. We'll be back.
Kaulana na pua o Hawaii, Kupa ama hope o ka aina, Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino, Pala anunu me ka paka. Mane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave, Koku ana honoa o Pilani, Ka ko'o mai kaua I o mano, Pa'apu me ke oni o ka puhi hewa. lava